Everyone's fun around. My name is Jordan. This video will be for Wednesday's large slate of games. We have 11 different games. I'm going to dive into them, give my lean on the spread, and talk about some player props to look out for. So my final plays will be in the pinned comment once all of the plays are out. I'm filming at night right now. A couple of the games are still going on. So you will see images that come up on the screen right there. That's from a data app called Outlier. There will be a link in the description for a 7-day free trial for Outlier. So let's just dive right into this. This first game is going to be the Sixers at the Cavaliers. Cavaliers are 9.5-point favorites. Sixers are on a back-to-back. They just had a 24-point lead against the Bulls, and they blew it right at the end. Joel Embiid played a little bit over his minutes restriction. And he normally doesn't play on the back-to-back, so we shouldn't see Joel Embiid here against the Cavaliers. Tyrese Maxey played near 40 minutes. We've seen him do that before in a back-to-back, and he was fine in the second game. But their first back-to-back, they went to overtime against the Wizards, who are not very good. So they did struggle a little bit defensively. So for the Cavaliers, Sam Merrill and Jared Allen are questionable, and Darius Garland has a chance to play for this one. Sixers are 5-2 against the spread. Cavaliers are 2-5 against the spread. They've been very disappointing this year. As a Cavaliers fan, just kind of tough to watch. So I do want to introduce a new thing to just kind of make things a little bit easier as I'm talking through this stuff. But this is going to be the prop radar. Whenever I'm talking about a player, I'll put their name up there. So a guy for the Cavaliers to look out for, obviously Donovan Mitchell is going to have a lot of volume if Darius Garland and Sam Merrill are not there. But a guy to look out for is going to be Jalen Tyson. If Sam Merrill is out, he's been in the starting lineup, and he has scored very well the last 3 games, and he's very efficient. So he's had 18 points, and 19 points over the last 3 games with Sam Merrill out. So just keep an eye on that injury report. And then as far as the Sixers go, I don't know who's going to be sitting and everything like that. They could sit more than just Embiid. So we will see. So no props to look out for there. So this one's just pending injuries. If Sam Merrill and Allen and Garland are all out, I will take the Sixers points because I think they can still score very well. And the Cavaliers do not have a lot of shooting if those guys are out. If some of them return, then I might favor the Cavaliers. But for right now, the Sixers is the lean. This next game is going to be the Jazz versus the Pistons. Pistons are 10.5-point favorites. The Jazz, Walker Kessler is out. The Pistons, Tobias Harris is out. So that's kind of a big hit for them. The Jazz are 5-2 against the spread. The Pistons are also 5-2 against the spread. Jazz are coming off a big win against Boston where they were 10.5-point underdogs. And in both games this year for the Jazz that they've been 10.5-point underdogs, they've actually won the games. So here we are for the third time. The Pistons are pretty tough defense. They're worse against guards than they are against forwards. So tough matchup for Lauri Markkanen with Ausar Thompson guarding him, even though Lauri Markkanen's got the size. Ausar Thompson's just very athletic. So guy to look out for is, it's not a sneaky name or anything like that, Keontae George, averaging 23 points a game and had 25 or more points in 4 out of the last 5 games. He's been scoring very well. And then for the Pistons, for the second year in a row, the Jazz have been the second easiest matchup for point guards to get assists. So this has continued throughout the offseason into this year. So Cade Cunningham, look out for his assist. Last 3 games, he's had 8, 18, and 10 assists. He's also been scoring very well with 2 30-point games in the last 3 games. So you could look for something like double-double. You could just look at 10 assists or points plus assists, stuff like that. Check out those lines. So even though the Jazz won't have Walker Kessler here, 10.5 points is a lot of points for a team that's been playing pretty well. So I will take the Jazz on the points as underdogs. This next one's going to be the Nets versus the Pacers. Pacers are 6.5-point favorites. There's only one win between both of these teams. Both of these teams are not good. I do not see Michael Porter Jr. on the injury report, so he should be there. Pacers still will be without Obi Toppin, Andrew Nembhard, Ben Mathurin, TJ McConnell, and now one of the guys who was stepping up, Quentin Jackson. I know we're just saying like random names now, but he is going to be out. Nets Nets are 2-5 against the spread, and the Pacers are 5-2 against the spread. This will be the first time they've been favored all year long. So the Nets are giving up the most points and the most assists. So the obvious guys to look out for are going to be Pascal Siakam and Aaron Nesmith. Positions that the Nets just happen to be worse against is the shooting guard position and power forward position. So top 3 in points given out to both of those positions. So Aaron Nesmith and Pascal Siakam definitely look their way. But a sneaky guy to look out for, spotlight player, is going to be Jarris Walker. He stepped up in the last 4 games. And then with all these injuries, if you just one bad game aside, he's had 20, 17, and 18 in the last 4 games. So with Obi Toppin out, Quentin Jackson out, he's going to get an opportunity and be a power forward in that good matchup. For the Nets, it's still just Cam Thomas, Michael Porter Jr., just taking a bunch of shots. But there's a guy to spotlight who has been playing pretty well. And it's going to be Nick Claxton. So over his last 3 games, he's had 19 points, 8 rebounds, 19.7 rebounds, and 18 points, 11 rebounds. So he's really stepping it up in both of those categories. So someone to look out for. So the lean on this one, the Nets you just can't take them seriously right now. They just don't play defense. They can keep up in scoring, and that is what worries me a little bit. But they've had worse spreads. I'm going to lean the Pacers at home because they do play a little bit of defense, and all it's going to take is a cold streak from Michael Porter Jr. and Cam Thomas, and the league could balloon. So I will lean the Pacers. And then this next one's going to be the Timberwolves versus the Knicks. Knicks are 5.5-point favorites. Was expected to be back in mid-November, but he actually practiced and he's questionable for this game. And then for the Knicks, Mitchell Robinson is questionable for rest. They said rest was the reason. It's not a back-to-back or anything. Wolves are 2-5 against the spread. Knicks are 4-3 against the spread. All the Knicks wins have been at home, so here we are. Knicks are at home again. Both teams are in the top 12 for the toughest defenses. Minnesota is giving up the 6th most points to the point guard position, so obviously Jalen Brunson is going to be a guy you're going to look out for, going up against his old teammate Dante DiVincenzo, and then Karl Anthony Towns going up against his old team. He played them once last year, and he had 32 points and 20 rebounds, but he was playing inflated minutes with Tom Thibodeau, so I wouldn't expect that, and he was kind of like on a roll last year. And for the Timberwolves players, a lot, it has to do with the Anthony Edwards news and if he plays or not. But a guy that I don't think that's going to affect him too much and has been playing pretty well off the bench is going to be Naz Reid. So Naz Reid off the bench, the last 5 games, he had 21 points, 18 points. He had a really bad one, a 5-point game, and then he had 18 and 16. So keep an eye out for Naz Reid off the bench here. And since the Knicks play well at home, we don't know about Anthony Edwards. Even if he comes back, he's not going to be playing 40 minutes. Or at least you would hope not with all this minutes restrictions and stuff going on. So I'm going to lean the Knicks at home as the favorites. This next one's going to be the Wizards at the Celtics. Celtics are 10.5-point favorites. Chris Middleton remains out for the Wizards. So that's one of their few veteran scorers, who can, get a basket for them. Celtics have no new injuries. Wizards are 1-6 against the spread. Celtics are 2-6 against the spread. Wizards give up the 2nd most points to teams. Boston gives up the 4th least points to teams. So Boston plays really good defense. Wizards do not. So a spotlight player for the Wizards, I just wanted to point out, Boston gives up the 9th most rebounds to the center position. So Alex Sarr has been pretty consistent over the past 4 games. He's had 8, 8, 8, and 11 rebounds. So keep an eye out for his rebounds prop. As long as it's not a blowout, he could have a really good opportunity here to go over his rebounds. And then for Boston, Jaylen Brown obviously is going to have a really easy matchup. And there's not many other guys who have been really consistent. I mean, you could look at Anthony Simons, Peyton Pritchard, Derek White, but there's not anyone who I can specifically say he's been consistent lately. Take a look at him. I can say Peyton Pritchard has kind of shot a lot better. He was awful to start off the year, but he shot a lot better last game, so potentially him. But still, I think it's just Jaylen Brown's world here against a really bad Wizards team, and then someone's going to step up. A couple guys might step up, but I don't know who that's going to be. So after the Celtics had a couple bad losses at home, I do see this as a bounce back spot with them playing good defense. Chris Middleton not being there for the Wizards. I will take the Celtics at minus 10.5 points. So we're about halfway there. If you guys could, please like the video. If you haven't, please subscribe to the channel. If you have a little bit of extra time, could you leave a comment for the algorithm? Just put a W there. That helps get this video out there for more people to see. And also, I want to shout out a new social sports book. So you can bet money line, spreads, all that stuff. But it's also a casino. So it's a very popular one. It's called Legends, Social Sports Book and Casino. They're doing a 100% match up to $100. And then they give you $3 free. So it's available in 43 states. You see those all on the map. I'll put a link in the pinned comment and also a link in the description if you want to check out Legends Social Sportsbook, and you can also play their casino games. This next game is the Rockets at the Grizzlies. Rockets are 7.5-point favorites. Steven Adams and Jabari Smith Jr. are questionable. Grizzlies have no new big injuries. Guys like Zach Edey, Scottie Pippen Jr. are still out. Rockets are 5-2 against the spread. Grizzlies are 2-6 against the spread. Grizzlies rotation has been all over the place. I was just keep an eye out on Jaren Jackson Jr. last time around because I had his under. He played 4 minutes, came off the court, played 2 minutes, came off the court. I don't know what they're doing, so I don't really trust them. Their chemistry is just all over the place, and John Morant has some valid gripes about the coaching. So that's all I'm going to say about their rotation. Cedric Coward's a guy to point out, but he's no longer a hidden gem or anything like that. So the Rockets play the third toughest defense, giving up points, the second lowest rebounds. So a lot of unders you could look at for the Grizzlies. Grizzlies like to play fast. So guys who like to get out in transition and get to the basket are guys you're going to want to look out for. So I think that's going to be Amen Thompson and then Tari Eason if Jabari Smith Jr. is out. So Amen Thompson is coming off a 27-point game, a season high. And then with Jabari Smith Jr. out the last game, Tari Eason had 15 points, very efficient 15 points. So those are two guys I'd look out for. So with the Grizzlies struggling in their chemistry and everything, I will lean the Rockets to have a big win here in a fast-paced matchup. This next game is going to be the Pelicans versus the Mavericks. Mavericks are 6.5-point favorites. Pelicans are on a back-to-back, and they just had a comeback victory versus the Hornets. You want to note that Jeremiah Fears, if you want to bet on him, he got taken out in the second half. Apparently he pissed off the coach. Coach got in his feelings for something he did and didn't play him the rest of the game. So I would stay away from a lot of Pelicans. If you have a coach who's just willing to just pull guys and not want to develop them and do his job and just have a rotation based off of feelings, that's not, you don't want to play those guys. They could play a lot of minutes, they could play less minutes, because Jose Alvarado had a really good game. A lot of people might start betting he's over, and then he's going to go back to not playing as much. So Zion Williamson's going to be out for a week. Vis Misi was sick on Tuesday, so he probably is going to be questionable. For Dallas, Anthony Davis and Derek Lively will remain out. Pelicans are 3-4 against the spread. Mavericks are 3-4 against the spread, and they played a lot better against a Houston team last time around. I think a big part of that was Daniel Gafford's return. He did return the game before, but he was on a minutes restriction. He was on a minutes restriction the second game, but he went over it by about 6 minutes, and he was just consistently scoring, getting dunks. He had 14 points on 7 for 9 shooting. So I think he's kind of helping to push this Mavericks offense where they didn't have it when Anthony Davis went out. If you get those consistent baskets down low, it starts opening up the three-point shooters, and then guys like PJ Washington started to go off. Cooper Flagg's able to get a little bit more space. So a guy to look out for is going to be Daniel Gafford on his points. He did not rebound very well, but he is going to get very close shots, get offensive rebounds, put back dunks. I would keep an eye out for Daniel Gafford's points lines. And then, like I said, Pelicans are really hard to trust right now. So I'll lean the Mavericks as favorites at home against the Pelicans on a back-to-back. This next one will be the Heat versus the Nuggets. Nuggets are 9.5-point favorites. The Heat have no new injuries, and Norman Powell's not on the injury report, so he should remain in the starting lineup. For the Nuggets, Jamal Murray is probable. The Heat are 5-2 against the spread, and the Nuggets are 3-3 against the spread. For the Heat, Norman Powell was a nice spark coming back from injury, scored 21 points. He's also scored 29, 15, and 28 in his 4 games he has played this year. I checked his history versus the Nuggets last season when he was with the Clippers. He scored 37, 28, 16, and 30. So has really good history here against a tough defense, a tough Nuggets defense. So he's a guy I would look out for. And then for the Nuggets, the consistent prop, the consistency is Jokic rebounds and assist. So he's just been consistent machine, averaging almost 25 rebounds, assists a game. That line continues to go up. He did not rebound too well last game, but it's a new day, and he's rebounded well in all the other games. And even when he did not rebound well, he ended up with 14 assists. So it's like when one's lower, the other one's, taking off. So that's one I would look out for the Nuggets. As far as the other guys like Jamal Murray, Aaron Gordon, all those guys, they take turns going off, so that it's hard to predict there. But Jokic is going to be the engine for that team. So when the Heat have Powell, their offense seems to run a lot better. So I will lean the Heat. If you're going to give them 9 points, I will take the Heat as the underdogs. I don't know if they'll win it or not, but I think they'll make it close. Next one is going to be the Spurs versus the Lakers. Lakers are 2.5-point favorites, and Dylan Harper, rookie, will be out for the Spurs. And then for the Lakers, Austin Reeves is questionable, and Jackson Hayes is probable. Spurs are 4-2 against the spread. Lakers are 6-2 against the spread. Spurs are coming off a really bad loss versus the Suns. Victor Wembanyama did not play well at all, but a guy I do want to spotlight can be Stephon Castle. So he had 26 points in that game. It was one of the bright spots. He's also in the last 3 games. He had 26, 21, and 22 points. So he's scoring very efficiently. And with Dylan Harper out, that's another guard that's not going to be coming in and taking minutes away. So he could get a little bit of a boost in minutes there. And then versus the Lakers last year, he had just one bad game. So he had 22 points, 10 points, 23, and then 23 points. So very consistent other than that 10-point game. So he's someone I'll be looking out for, someone that's trying to make that second year leap. And then for the Lakers, Luka's going to, get his, take a bunch of shots. It's really going to depend on this Austin Reeves injury, where, I want to look for props. The Spurs have been very good defensively, giving up the second least points, except for that Suns game. So they could hop back in and, play really good defense. So as of right now, assuming that Austin Reeves is going to be out, I will lean the Spurs on the road. But if he plays, then I might lean back towards the Lakers. So right now it's the Spurs on the lean. This next one's going to be the Thunder, 4.5-point favorites at the Blazers. Thunder will be on a back-to-back. They're playing right now. They have a lot of guys who were questionable on Tuesday, but they did end up playing, like Lou Dort, AJ Mitchell, and then, Chet Holmgren's on and off the injury report. So a lot of guys could be out for injury management. I've seen them do it before last season where they just put a ton of guys out, even Shea. And, we'll see what their injury report looks like tomorrow. But the Blazers, Shaedon Sharpe is probable. That's big for them. Thunder are 3-4 against the spread. That's not including Tuesday. And then the Blazers are 5-2 against the spread. Obviously, the injury report's really big here for the Thunder. But I keep spotlighting 2 Blazers guys. I should spotlight 3. Shaedon Sharpe's been really consistent, but the 2 guys I keep spotlighting, I'm going to spotlight them again because they continue to stay consistent, and it's Deni Avdija. His worst game this year is 19 points, and he's averaging 24 points a game. So he's a guy I'm going to keep an eye out on. And then Jeremy Grant, his worst game is 16 points, and he's averaging 20 points a game. Both of those guys just continue to be consistent, haven't had like a really off game. So the Blazers have been a tough out this year. And with them at home against a Thunder team on the back-to-back, I'm going to lean their way to potentially get a win here. at home. And then this final game, I do not have a spread for it because the Warriors are still playing. But it's the Warriors versus the Kings. I can kind of project what the spread will look like, but the Warriors will be on a back-to-back, and Jimmy Butler just left the game. That might be why the spread isn't necessarily out right now. So he may not play in this one, probably won't. And then the Kings have Malik Monk returning, and the Kings also have Sabonis and Levine as questionable, but they did play in the last game. So more than likely they play in this one, but we'll see. So it looks like the guy who's going to benefit the most if Jimmy Butler is out, and I'm filming this, or I started filming this in the middle of the fourth quarter. So Moses Moody has just exploded when Jimmy Butler went out. He's got 22 points right now, and he's going to be the guy to look out for the Warriors. And for the Kings, with the Warriors, size or lack of size, they give up a lot of rebounds. So last 3 games he played against them last year, he had 13 rebounds, 18 rebounds, and 14 rebounds. And he's getting back into that groove this season. So he's the guy I'd look out for the Kings. So for the Kings, they keep putting the spread very large because they don't play much defense. And but they have the guys, they have the talent to keep up scoring, so they can keep games close. So I don't know what the spread is, but I will lean the Kings if the spread is pretty large. So that is the 11 games. If you'd like to discuss lines further, I have a Discord. Link is in the description. Hop on in there. Talk about basketball, football, all that good stuff. That is completely free. And then as far as a recap goes, I had Sandro. I'm not going to try to pronounce his last name, under rebounds for the Raptors. The read was, he had only hit it once all year long, and Jakob Poeltl was back. I had taken him before on the under and hit it pretty easily. It was like sweat free, but he went off and he got a bunch of rebounds. It ended up being a blowout, and I had Brandon Ingram points, and he did not go over on that. He sat most of the fourth quarter. And then I had a plus money parlay with Josh Giddey and Cole Anthony that cashed. I had Jeremiah Fears for his assist, and unfortunately he got benched. And also when Zion and Vismisi went out, Jordan Poole went into the starting lineup, and then he became the point guard and started passing the ball all over the place, where he was on the bench and not getting as many minutes, and Fears was playing the main point guard role and getting assists. So that kind of just threw everything off. So this is a long video. I'm going to get it edited and get it out to you all. God bless you. It's fine around. My name is Jordan. I'll catch you on the next one. Bye.